This is every 2024 movie that I've seen reviewed in the order that I watched them. First movie I saw was Madam Web. I thought this movie was mostly awful. Dakota Johnson's pretty charming, and she has this line about peeing on the lawn that I thought was funny. But the villain in this movie made no sense. He's scared to get thrown out of his top floor apartment, even though he can jump off buildings and be totally fine. And also, he's rich, but he hasn't thought yet to move out of the top floor apartment and just move to a first floor apartment. Then it won't matter if they throw you out the window. I thought Madam Web was awful. I would give it a D. The next movie I saw is Dune 2. Denis Villeneuve has been one of my favorite directors for years now, ever since Incendie and Prisoners. Prisoners is such an incredible movie. Enemy, Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Sicario is one of my favorite movies of all time. Dune, the first one, was probably my least favorite of Denis Villeneuve's movies. I thought it was really great. It was just my least favorite of the bunch. Dune 2 is probably in my top 3 of his movies. It's one of the best movies I've seen in years, and it really feels like a blockbuster film that will go on for decades, because so many blockbuster movies we get now, like a lot of the Marvel movies or the DC movies or Transformers or whatever, that shit, it's just like this CGI vomit into your eyeballs with comedy lines and one-liners and explosions, and it's just nauseating, and they're all very similar. And Dune 2 kind of feels different amongst a batch. It was made by a filmmaker instead of a corporate machine. I love Dune 2. It's one of my favorite movies that I've seen in years, and I would give it an A+. The next movie I saw is Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. I thought Conor McGregor was pretty silly in this movie. The way he was walking, I thought was really funny, and a lot of his lines were really funny. Jake Gyllenhaal was whatever. He had a button-up shirt that was open, and he was flexing his abs the entire movie. It was just strange, and his haircut was weird. All of it was weird. When Jake Gyllenhaal and that girl were on a boat and they went to an island and he had his shirt open and he had his abs out and it felt like you were watching a weird music video, I just thought this movie's so weird, and it's so HD. It looks like they shot it with a super 4K camera, and I was just like, this is weird. It felt like someone who was on Wild 'N Out directed this movie. I would give it a D+. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. That's one of the worst titles of all time. I hate that title, and I hated this movie. I feel like with each American-made Godzilla film, they're just further shitting on this character, and they just haven't made... the 2014 one is good. I like that one. Other than that one, they're all been terrible. All the American-made Godzilla movies have been terrible. And this one, I think, is the worst one that they've made yet. I just hated it. Godzilla was pink like a Barbie. He was screaming. It looked like the whole thing looked like an Xbox 360 cutscene. And Kong has a son, and he has a tooth implant. And it's just a bad, bad movie. But I remember when I was watching it, I was like, there's some decent, some entertaining scenes. I can't remember what they were, but I remember having that feeling when I was watching it. So I would give it a D. Civil War is the next movie I saw. I thought Civil War was pretty awesome. It's like a zombie apocalypse movie, but a more realistic one that we could potentially have, where America just tears itself apart by politics. That scene when the soldier's shooting the other dude, and he's like, why are you shooting at him? And the guy's like, because he's shooting at me. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was really good. The press running around, documenting all this stuff. I thought it was a super cool movie. Everyone should watch it. The ending was super, super underwhelming, but I really liked the rest of it. I would give it an A-. The next movie I saw is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I've always been a big fan of the Planet of the Apes franchise, and I've been loving these new movies, especially Matt Reeves' Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And I really liked War for the Planet of the Apes as well. Even though a lot of people are a bunch of haters about that movie, I really like it. I thought this was the worst of the new movies. It was good. I enjoyed it. There was something about the directing that didn't really, I don't know, make you feel anything. Did anyone ever feel anything for this new character? Noah. Did you care? Because I didn't really care. I was like, this looks kind of cool, but now I've seen it 4 times, so it's not as cool, and I feel like they didn't really do anything unique. And the entire second half of this movie is a complete copy of the previous movie, where Caesar's clan gets taken to a prison, so Caesar goes on this journey to break his clan out of the prison, and then they escape, and there's a big battle, except this time, it's the exact same movie, but it's on a beach prison. Watch the 2 movies. They straight up ripped off the previous movie in the franchise. I would give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes a B minus. I still liked it. I still liked that orangutan who was talking about Caesar's lessons and Caesar's law and everything that Caesar taught us. And he was a real historian, and I like that dude. I really like that character. The girl in it I didn't really care for, but I like that ending shot where they had the guns behind their back and it was like kind of tense. I felt tension in that scene, not in the rest of the movie, but in that scene. The next movie I saw is The Strangers Chapter 1. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. This is the worst movie that I saw in 2024. I hated this movie. I never wanted the main characters of a movie to die so badly. I just wanted the strangers to capture them and torture them. I thought this was just horrible. I would give it an F. The next movie I saw is Furiosa. I really liked Furiosa. Mad Max Fury Road is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the Mad Max franchise, and I love this movie. I feel like since Fury Road, which was it was 9 years ago now, so many movies have tried to kind of recreate Mad Max, like in their movie, like do a Mad Max scene. For an example, that movie Ad Astra with Brad Pitt, when it had the moon car chase scene and it was shot exactly like Mad Max. So many people were trying to copy what George Miller did, but nobody did it as good as George Miller did in Fury Road until George Miller made Furiosa. And I loved Furiosa. It's a little bit long. It's like 2 hours, 30 minutes. I would have liked it if it was like 2 hours flat, but I still really liked it. I would give it an A minus. The next movie I saw is Hundreds of Beavers. I don't want to give away too much about this movie because I saw this movie completely blind. I didn't have a clue what it was about, but it is one of the most unique movies I've ever seen by far, and it's one of the most creative movies. Really makes you love and makes you want to make movies because it makes it feel tangible. It makes it feel like something that you could do. And it's just a very fascinating movie to see what someone made with like not much money. It's awesome. Hundreds of Beavers is incredible. It's super funny and it's really good. I would give it an A. The next movie I saw is Inside Out 2. I really, really liked Inside Out 2. I really like them both. I think they're great movies. And they're what an animated movie should be. Because you could be a little kid and like Inside Out 2. You could be a teenager and like Inside Out 2. You can be an adult and like Inside Out 2. You can be an old person and like it. Everyone can like it. The only thing that I didn't like is how many times they said, "You're a good person, Riley," in that like weird baby talk. They said it like 15 times in the movie. And because of that, I'm going to give Inside Out 2 a B+. The next movie I saw is Maxine. Maxine is part of the X trilogy. This is my least favorite of the X trilogy. I go X, Pearl, Maxine. I think the first was the best and they progressively got worse. But I like all of them. I liked Maxine. I thought it was really good, really entertaining. Towards the end of it, I was like, it just felt like the most like kind of mediocre story. Just kind of whatever. And I just didn't care about Maxine like a whole bunch. X was the best to me. But I still like Maxine. I like the time period it was set in. I like that like silly Hollywood chase scene they have through the sets. Thought it was pretty entertaining. I would give it a B-. A Quiet Place Day 1 is the next movie I watched. Really good. I didn't even want to see this movie because I was kind of just like, who cares, a prequel. And I thought it was awesome. I wish we saw more. I wish they delved more into the aliens and more into like what this attack looked like. We almost see as much as our main characters see, which is not a lot. And I would have liked to see just a little bit more of the attack. The Quiet Place franchise has 3 solid movies now. I think the first one's still the best one. And I think they kind of have gotten worse with each one, but they're all really good. And I like the franchise. I would give A Quiet Place Day 1 a B. The next movie I saw was Longlegs. I love The Witch. I love Hereditary. I love that late 2015 to 2020 A24 horror era that was having just all these great horror movies coming out. And like, I know it wasn't A24, but like It Follows, like that time period. And Longlegs took me back to that time period, like 10 years ago, when these like little great indie horrors that you'll remember for the rest of your life were coming out. And I loved Longlegs. It was so much like Silence of the Lambs, but with Nicolas Cage playing this scary creep and a little bit of a supernatural angle to it, which I really thought was cool. The only things I don't like about Longlegs is I don't like how much they showed of Longlegs himself. I kind of liked it when they shot it like this, where you only saw like him from like the nose down and you never saw his eyes. I thought it was really creepy that way. Once they like showed his face and then they showed so much of his face and so much of his face, I thought they kind of ruined the horror effect of Longlegs. I also think the ending of the movie was terrible. I hated the ending of the movie, and I felt like what ends up happening in the final scene could have been avoided so many other ways if our main character didn't just like freeze up and stand there like a moron. I love Longlegs. I would give it an A minus. The next movie I saw is Deadpool and Wolverine. I have been falling asleep in the last couple Marvel movies that I've seen. I fell asleep in Doctor Strange 2, Ant-Man 3, Thor 4. For some reason, I think they're the perfect movie to fall asleep in because whenever you wake up, you're like right back in the action scene and they're going or they're cracking jokes. So it's like a good thing to like go in and out of sleeping. I love the movies for that. Deadpool and Wolverine, I thought was their best movie probably since Endgame. By the end of it, am I like, did I just get CGI blasted into my eyeballs and I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack now? Yes, I did. But I liked it. I thought it was funny. They had some good scenes, and I liked seeing Deadpool and Wolverine together. I liked that like ending montage of "I hope you had the time of your life." It was pretty funny. Deadpool and Wolverine gets a B plus from me. The next movie I saw is Trap. This movie was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. And it was just such a stupid movie. It made no sense how this dude would be standing amongst all the police who were like, they're showing the suspect on the TV and he's standing there beside them and nobody says this is the guy unless all these police are just extremely stupid. And that's what you learn watching this movie. Our main character's dumb, but at least he's not as dumb as every other character in the movie. So that's how he's able to outsmart everybody. When the entire limo was surrounded by people trying to capture this guy, and he somehow opens the limo door and gets out past these people and then is standing behind them staring at them with a smile. I hated Trap, but because it's so stupid, I kind of respected it, so I would give it a D. Alien Romulus is the next movie I saw. The Alien franchise is one of my favorite film franchises of all time, and when I was a little kid, I loved these Alien movies so much, and I still love Alien Resurrection. I like Alien 3. I really like the Alien franchise. The only Alien movie that I have hated was Alien Covenant. And I don't hate it, but I just think it's a really bad movie. It's beautiful looking. Alien Romulus kind of disappointed me. I was a big fan of Fede Alvarez. I love Don't Breathe. I was so excited for this movie. And it was good. I liked the nostalgic feel that he captured. But I'm just kind of sick of nostalgia in a way. I just want them to make another cool movie in this franchise that's not like kind of gleaming off of the original and reminding you of the original. When they have so many aliens and the aliens are so easily killed, when she kills like 40 of them in that scene, when she picks up a gun for the first time and she kills like 40 aliens. Like, look at the horror Ridley Scott was able to create in the very first Alien movie with just one alien. You don't need 500 aliens. I thought it was entertaining and it was cool, and I really liked the dude robot character, and some of the shots of them in space was awesome. I would give Alien Romulus a B. Still good. Next movie I saw is Beetlejuice. I thought this movie was so bad, and I knew 5 minutes into this movie that I was gonna hate it. I thought the performances in this movie were some of the worst of all time from everyone across the board. Jenna Ortega was the only part of this movie like holding it together and being entertaining. Keaton was alright, and I just really didn't like it. And I tried to walk out of it, but my girlfriend was like, we only have 30 minutes left. Let's just finish it. I would give Beetlejuice a D. The next movie I saw is The Wild Robot. I can't give this movie a grade because I didn't finish this movie. We walked out of it. It was my first time walking out of a movie in the theater in years, but I just couldn't do it anymore. I don't know how anyone likes this movie. I liked the first 20 minutes a lot before the animals started talking. And I get it if you like it, if you have a kid and you watched with your kid and your kid was having fun, and like, I get that. But if you don't have kids, I can't imagine how you would like this movie. It's about an emo goose being raised by a robot that wants to raise an emo goose, and a possum that pops in every now and then and gives like crazy long, in your face, unsubtle lessons about how being a mom is awesome. And then the robot's in your face with the unsubtle thing about how being a mom is awesome. And the emo goose is an emo goose. And I just wanted everybody to die. I can't grade it because I walked out of it. The next movie that I saw is The Substance. And The Substance is one of the best movies I've seen in years. The Substance blew my mind. It's the movie more than any other movie I saw this year that made me think about it for weeks. And it makes you think about, as you're watching it, what you would do if you were in that situation. And it's just a very fascinating film about respecting your older body and cherishing your older body. If you were given this opportunity to live into your younger body, how you would treat it, and if you would respect the balance. It's an incredible movie. The third act goes on a little bit too long, gets a little bit too crazy, but by that point, I was on board with it, but it went a little bit too much. But I really loved The Substance. I would give it an A. The next movie I saw is The Joker 2. This was one of the most boring movies I saw all year. I was so excited when they announced that The Joker 2 would be a musical because I'm a huge fan of La La Land. And the first thing I thought of is like, imagine if this is like La La Land, except with two psychopaths, Joker and Harley, but they're having this musical love story and it would just be so good. Instead, he's just got like a boring prison movie, and then they would just cut to dream sequences that were the musical parts, and the musical parts would have no impact on the story. They were just kind of like meaningless. I would give Joker 2 a D+. The next movie I saw, Smile 2. I really, really liked Smile 1, and it caught me by surprise because I saw it because I thought it would be terrible, and I thought it would be like a so bad it's good horror movie, and it was actually really good. Smile 2 is also pretty good. You could tell the director of this movie can make a really good horror movie, and I love the ending of it. I love so much of this movie. The opening of it was awesome. My big problem is that there's too many fake out scenes. It feels like half this movie that you watched didn't really happen, so it feels kind of pointless to watch the movie. At a certain time, when you're watching a scene and then you realize like, oh, that scene was all in the character's head, or that scene was all imaginary, or that scene was all made up, it just makes it feel meaningless because none of what you're watching ends up being real in the movie, and it just makes you kind of wish it was over. But I like Smile 2. I would give it a C. The next movie I saw is Abigail. Abigail I thought was really awesome. I really, really liked Abigail. I do think Abigail talked too much. Once she started talking a whole ton, it kind of took away from her, and I kind of liked the character before she was talking a lot. I thought she was cooler and scarier. It's a similar thing to Longlegs. But I really liked the movie. I thought it was really fun, and it's the same director as Ready or Not, and I think these are just like fun horror movies to watch with someone else or by yourself. And I also thought the ending just got a little bit too cheesy, too over the top, and went on too long. It didn't need an action scene. It didn't need that silly ending, and it didn't need all this crazy action. Just to have a movie. I would give Abigail a B+. The next movie I saw is Wicked. Wicked I thought was really entertaining. I watched The Wizard of Oz for the first time like 2 months ago, and I loved it. And then so I watched Wicked, and I thought it was awesome. I just think, I heard the musical is only like 2 hours. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but I'm going to pretend that's true. I heard the musical is only 2 hours. How is part 1 in the movie 2 hours, 40 minutes? It's longer than the musical already by almost an hour, and this is only the first half. That's a little extreme. I think they could have cut out some of the music, because sometimes there's a scene that's about to happen and you're like really into it, and then they're like, let's do 6 songs first and then get back to the scene. Spoilers, but when she's about to fly off on the broom, I'm like, this is pretty intense. Like, now she's got the broomstick, and I expected, maybe one song, maybe part of one song. But they did 4 songs before she flew off on that broom, and 6 more songs while she was riding the broom. It was too many songs. But I did love Ariana Grande, and I thought she was really funny. I would give Wicked a B+. I will be checking out the second one as well, which I wasn't sure if I was going to be into this movie. The next movie I saw is Craven. Craven was just really boring, and it was really like not much to talk about. It wasn't like so bad it's good like Madam Web or Morbius. It was just kind of like bad but okay, kind of like whatever, and Craven's just walking around shirtless and sweaty and flexing his abs the entire time, and they just really wanted you to know how much Aaron Taylor Johnson worked out for that movie. I honestly can't stand Aaron Taylor Johnson. He always looks extremely serious, and he's doing like this like scowl, and he looks exactly like a couple other people to me. Craven, I would give a C-. The last and final movie I saw of 2024 was Nosferatu. Robert Eggers is one of my favorite directors. The Witch is my all-time favorite horror movie. He made The Lighthouse that I loved. He made The Northman that I thought was okay. I thought it was visually awesome, but I didn't really like the characters in it, which made me not really care about what was happening in it. But I thought it was a cool movie. And now Nosferatu, I think, is really, really good. And I love Robert Eggers, and I love his style, and I love that hand going across the city. I don't think this movie's gonna have a lasting impact on me like The Witch did, or even The Lighthouse did. I don't think this is a movie I'm gonna go back and rewatch multiple times. I honestly don't care about Nicholas Hoult and about Aaron Taylor Johnson. I just didn't really care for the two main character dudes, but I liked the movie and I thought it was really good. I thought Nosferatu himself was creepy. I loved the ending final shots. I thought it was a really good movie. I would give Nosferatu an A-. And that's every movie for 2024 that I saw. I saw 24 movies, 25 movies. Next year, I'm going to try to see like 35. Peace.